Hey guys, what's up? What's happening? You got the King of Games 98 here. How you doing? Hope you all are doing good and staying safe. And the next Christmas themed movie I will be reviewing is Disney's The Santa Claus. Specifically, the first one. And wow. After just getting done watching this movie as an adult, I can say two things. Number one, this movie still holds up today. And number two, I find that watching this as an adult, I like and appreciate it more because some of the innuendos and adult jokes I didn't quite catch or understand as a kid. So going back and watching this as an adult, I got them and I found them very funny and I really liked it. So if you've never seen Disney's The Santa Claus and are curious as to what it's about, well, on Christmas Eve, Scott Calvin, played by Tim Allen, and his son Charlie discover Santa has fallen off the roof. Oh no! When Scott dons Santa's suit and unwittingly triggers the Santa Claus, they're whisked away to the North Pole to take on the role of jolly old Saint Nick. And that's basically it. I will add to that, though, the story of this movie works very, very well with the major situation or plot of it, which is that Scott Calvin and his ex-wife and his son Charlie and his ex-wife's boyfriend? I don't know if she got remarried or if they're dating during this, because I don't think it really ever said or explained that. But anyway, their lives are very difficult during this time. And, Scott Calvin starts believing that he is really Santa Claus. His son Charlie starts believing that he really is Santa Claus. And then his ex-wife, and I'm just going to call him her boyfriend, start believing that Scott Calvin is clinically insane and needs to see a shrink or therapist. And in a weird way, Scott Calvin gets pushed away from his ex-wife and her boyfriend and from even his own son, Charlie, until the very end when it's revealed that he really is, in fact, Santa Claus. And then all is forgiven. They look like fools. His ex-wife literally throws the papers into the fireplace while the fire is going about him not being able to see his own son, Charlie. What's that called? He got his what's that called? He got his visitation rights revoked. There we go. And she literally just throws him in the fire. I'm like, wow, that spoke volumes, So the way this movie is written is really, really good, and it works in its own favor. Now, I want to say Disney made 3 movies in this franchise, and I believe I have seen all 3 over the years. Now, I'm not going to be reviewing the other 2 because, if I decide to review them, they will get their own separate dedicated review video. But out of the 3, from what I can remember of each movie, I like this one the most. I absolutely love this one. This one was a home freaking run. Okay? 2, I think, was decent, but then by the time 3 came out, from what I can recall anyway, 3 was really god-awful bad, if I'm recalling it right. Now, I believe 2 years ago, Disney Plus got Tim Allen to come back in the role and did a Disney Plus series. Now, before you ask about that at all, I have not watched it, so I have no hot takes or reviews on that Disney Plus series. Although if you have and you feel like I should watch it, let me know down below in the comments section. But yeah, out of the 3 movies, this first one is just so freaking good, and it's my absolute favorite. Okay, so this came out in 1994, guys. Now, I said in the very, very beginning that this movie still holds up, and I stand by that statement. However, in certain scenes with the reindeer flying and landing on people's roofs, specifically in the very beginning of the movie, like I want to say 20 or under minutes in, certain shots and scenes of the reindeer look really bad. And what do I mean by that? Well, yes, they're obviously CGI'd. Okay. In certain scenes, you can tell the reindeers are CGI'd. And then others, they're clearly standing there. In the scenes where you can tell that they're CGI'd, oh, they look really, really bad. So I still stand by what I said. This movie does still hold up, but from it being from 1994, in certain scenes where the reindeers are CGI'd, you can tell it's from 94. Do I think that makes the movie bad? No. Do I think that it slightly brings the movie down? No. I would not even say that because, ladies and gentlemen, I've been watching this movie for so many years now that kid me never noticed that. And who's the majority, who's the target audience for this? Kids, of course. So are kids going to notice that? No. More than likely not. Again, me watching this as an adult, yeah, okay, I did notice that. It stood out to me briefly. But like on the close-up shots of the reindeers when they're not in mid-flight or flying, they look fine. They look perfectly fine. And as a matter of fact, I would go to say they look very realistic, supposed to be reindeer. So, yeah, there's that, but it's very nitpicky. It's very nitpicky, and I really don't even think that, that affects this movie. This movie is, where did I see the runtime? Does it even say it on here? Oh, there we go. I did look for it. Approximately 97 minutes, which equates to 1 hour and 37 minutes. The fact that this movie is under 2 hours and it tells the story that it's trying to, wraps it up very neatly in a bow, I might add, is amazing, because a movie like this easily could have gone 2+ hours, I think, anyway. So the fact that it's only 1 hour and 37 minutes is a really, really good runtime, and I did not think it was too long, nor did I think it was too short. I thought it was just perfect. Now, I am going to talk about some of the funny scenes and jokes that I really got a good laugh out of watching. Watching this as an adult, that I wrote down in my notes taking during watching this. So, okay. I don't even know if I can say this with a straight face. The first one I wrote down is the scene in the very, very beginning of the movie, probably not even, or well, maybe like 10 minutes into this movie, when Santa Claus comes to Scott Calvin's, I guess it's supposed to be a condo? Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be a condo because it definitely wasn't an apartment. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be a condo. When he comes to his condo, and Charlie hears the clatter on the roof and wakes him up. And he accidentally spooks Santa, causing him to slip and fall off the roof. And then when he looks over his suit, after he mysteriously disappears, and then Scott Calvin walks right into an invisible ladder that suddenly is no longer invisible, which I thought was really funny. Charlie climbs the ladder, goes up on the roof, and sees his sleigh with the reindeer. Scott, of course, follows him, and Charlie is in shock and awe over this, sleigh and reindeer, and he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, it's Santa's sleigh!" And then Scott is like, it's so denial, and he's like, "Nah, no, this isn't that." And he says, "You know what this is? This is a gift from the cable company. We're getting the Disney Channel now. Merry Christmas." Between the word-for-word line and Tim Allen's delivery of that line, I found so freaking hysterical. And the fact that this is a Disney movie, because is it going to show it on the back here? No, I guess not. Okay. That's okay. So Disney owned the company Buena Vista Home Video or Buena Vista Entertainment, whatever it was called. That was a company owned by Disney. So them being owned by Disney, making a Disney Channel joke in their own movie was hysterical. I absolutely loved that. Okay, the next funny... Oh, yeah, okay. So the next funny scene that I wrote down was... I think it's like the second house Scott Calvin visits dressed as Santa Claus. And there's the little girl sleeping on the couch. And she wakes up because he's making a racket and is like, "Santa?" And then he's like, "Scott Calvin." And then, like, the banter back and forth between them is hysterical. And he goes, "Do you want this doll?" And it's a Raggedy Ann doll. And he's like, "Do you want this doll? Then close your eyes and go to sleep." And she does so. And he chucks the doll at the Christmas tree and makes a racket. And she opens her eyes wide back open. And then she put out milk, cookies, and I guess it was supposed to be celery for the reindeer. And he, I think, takes the cookies, he takes the celery, and he doesn't take the milk. And she goes, "You're supposed to drink the milk." And he turns to her with like, quietly yelling, "I'm lactose intolerant." Trying to not wake the parents. That was hysterical. And I could relate to that, being as I am also lactose intolerant. So that was really, really funny to me. Okay. Next funny scene that I wrote down. Scott Calvin and Judy, when they first meet at the North Pole, and she brings him and Charlie into his bedroom, and she asks him if you would like to try some of my world-famous hot chocolate. At first, he denies it and says no, and then she goes, "It took me..." What'd she say? "It took me 1,200 years to perfect." And then he finally obliges her and tries it, and then goes, "Wow, this is really good, and takes a couple sips, and then goes, you look really good for your age. Judy, thanks, but I'm seeing someone in rapping. Oh my God. I think out of all of them, that joke hit me the funniest, if you will, and I just really, really like that one. And the last one that I wrote was Scott Calvin being approached in the park while watching Charlie's soccer game by a little girl wanting ballerina slippers. That scene was hysterical for how the little girl acted and for how Scott Calvin acted. That was absolutely hysterical. Okay, now, besides Tim Allen, this movie only has one other famous actor in it, and that is Judge Reinhold. Now, Tim Allen is known for a lot of things. Some of the famous things I wrote down on my list here are Home Improvement, Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, which I used to watch growing up on Saturday mornings, The Shaggy Dog, and Wild Hogs, just to name a few. Now, Judge Reinhold was in Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, 3, and Axel F. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I've never seen a Beverly Hills Cop movie ever. I know it stars Eddie Murphy. That's about all I know. I like Eddie Murphy, so I'm sure I probably like them, but I did not know he was in them. He was also in Gremlins, which I love Gremlins, and I don't remember him in Gremlins. Gotta be honest. He was in Stripes, starring Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. Most notably and famously, Judge Reinhold was in the 80s cult classic high school movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Now, my parents loved that movie. And so when I was, old enough of age, they showed it to me. And so I immediately became a fan of it. So I recognized him instantly, seeing him in this from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I can't say a single bad thing about the Santa Claus, at least the first movie. I absolutely love it. Even as an adult. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Let me know down below, guys, what you think of this movie.